Welcome everyone. Thanks for letting me talk. It's nice that you are here. I appreciate it a lot. So first of all, because we have Mr. Daejeon here, he had a fantastic speech this morning, and I'm passionate about open innovation. And what I want to do is to be a bit controversial. I don't think that an innovation cluster needs a place by definition. It can be everywhere, and it's created on a specific demand. Yeah. And then, if you talk about the innovation cluster in the creative economy, I would like to use the picture that Mr. Daejeon also used. You know the innovation funnel, it was displayed today. Yeah? It's the picture that Mr. Cheslow also used. We have this big funnel, so I start here. Here is research. Yeah? And then you have the big funnel. Why it's a funnel? Because you put a lot in and you get a minimum out. And this is a story about research. If you're thinking about linear research, you're moving something from here to there. This is a dream, and it never worked. It's not bad. I think we need basic research. Basic research is the feeding of the funnel. Yeah? Basic research is needed. That's why Korea is having the ISB program. So you need to feed this process. But what is happening from here to there is totally different. Where I would say I find innovation clusters, and with an industry point of view, I would say innovation clusters are here before the research, very important, before the research starts. And I see the innovation clusters also in the funnel, yeah, in the kind of the middle. What is happening there? There's a collaboration between the innovation owners, yeah, the ones who own a technology, but they don't know what to do with it. And there is someone with an interest to do something with it. So innovation clusters are in the front end and in the middle. There I would locate these innovation clusters. I made a very, very nice 15th century PowerPoint here with drawing this picture, yeah? Old-fashioned way. Let me start with my presentation. I will talk about creating innovation clusters, and this is a deep literature research. You find a lot of literature from 2013, 2012 about innovation clusters. It is nothing new. It's very old stuff. I think it was the same with the open innovation paradigm. Mr. Cheslow was just a really clever guy who made business out of it. Yeah? You know, it is sometimes not, it's open innovation. It's not that you know it. It's what you're doing out of it and what you're getting out of it. This is all about the open innovation. And he was a clever guy who described everything. And there was even a company, 9 Sigma, one of the best, I think most successful exploiters of technologies. They are supporting companies worldwide with open innovation principle to do technology transfer. So, what is the creation? How do you create an innovation cluster? Yeah, this is from the literature. It's not only my opinion. My opinion is very straightforward. If we see a cluster that is appearing somewhere, yeah, normally it's politically driven. It can be good, it can be very risky. Yeah. Normally it should be good if industry plus research universities, they go together to the government and say, here we need some support, but don't bother our business. And you will see in my literature research, most of the studies come to the same conclusion. Creative industry, this was defined several times, so I will be a bit faster. Creative economy is also something that we defined a lot, yeah, but I will just give some understanding of it. And as you see, I also cover the topic of open innovation. And what we try to do, you saw it part of you yesterday, we try to use the open innovation paradigm and the way how crowdsourcing, crowdfunding works, to translate that into the incubation model. Most of the business incubators will not love me for this, yeah, because it is challenging their business model. But we see, first of all, as a chance. Yeah, it's really a chance. The open incubation is a chance, and it targets that area where all the instruments at the moment are failing, where it's a pre-incubation phase. It's where you have the ideas, where you have the creativity. Yeah, but it is all there. It's before the research. Yeah, we are here. Yeah? The innovation clusters. Research starts there. So we build up the consortia for the research. And at this stage, yeah, you develop something, and then you come into the research. And within the research, yeah, it's important, yeah, that you support these brains and pick up ideas and push it to the funnel. And it's very good if from the beginning industry is involved. I'm running around a bit. So innovation clusters have been existing for a long time. It's not a new story. Yeah? It's very fancy for politicians to have them, but they exist since a long time. And they are more and more getting into the policy as an instrument. At the moment, it was 2006, there were 1,400 registered clusters. It's a huge amount of information available because all of them are in a way described. And via the internet we can exploit the successful ones. And most of them have been analyzed deeply regarding their successful approach. Clusters can create jobs, bring innovation and accelerate business if they are done in a proper way. What is an innovation cluster? It's a geographic concentration, but it does not mean that it has to be in a city or that it has to be in a cheap environment. It can be, and it can foster it, but I think the point is that there must be a goal. Yeah? There is something why people are sitting together, why they invest their money, especially when we talk about industry, before they join a cluster and spend their time. Every hour they have to charge to SAP which cost center is it. Yeah? So it's a cost, and it's only getting a revenue if something is coming out of it. So it's really in a company handled like a cost. Yeah? And you don't have a lot of possibilities to charge costs in a profit company. They act as a community, so clusters are normally self-organizing instruments that need some support by governments, and they bridge the gap between research and business, stimulate competition, and create advantageous collaboration. This is Fraunhofer, just a recent study about it. I created 2 clusters. One of them has been very successful, it's still alive. It was created in 2000. It was an optical cluster. We copied the American White Book on optics that was published in, 1996 or something like that, yeah, long time ago. And then Germany picked it up and said, optics are the next revolution in the technologies because they are horizontal. They feed all the different sectors. So we started to have an initiative, a national cluster, yeah, that just gave an environment for different regional states that put together their companies. But from the beginning, it was planned that the clusters work together and collaborate. Startup clusters have many advantages. Why? Because guys that create a company, they are drivers and movers. And especially startups, these guys, they don't have any time. So when they spend their time, then they really see an added value. And for being vice president of the International Network for SMEs, or being board member of Technology Innovation International, these 2 associations, it's for us as a company a cost, membership fee. And then we also have to represent the association. This is additional cost. And what we do every year, I have to go back to the C-level management and to justify. Yeah? So I have to write a big report. What did we spend and what did we get back? And this needs to be justified. And a lot of policy makers, they follow exactly the same model. I saw Korea doing it. Yeah? If something doesn't work, Not bad. Yeah? Finland is doing the same, I think. Yeah? Finland is very innovative in the policies. Yeah? If something doesn't work, they stop it. But on the other hand, clusters are something that can be created ad hoc, solving a specific problem, but you need to have continuity. This big outcome of all the studies that you have to have a long breeze as a policy maker to support these. Don't just stop after a year or two or the next election that you start from scratch. This is a fatal error. The development is influenced by many factors. It's really difficult to say which element had what effect. This is a conclusion the Commission made in 2007. Yeah? There are a lot of support mechanisms to clusters. There are a lot of studies made. There are a lot of support instruments. But you cannot really describe what makes it successful. I will come to Broechler, who is really a guru in entrepreneurship later, and he came up with 4 points. And one of the main points is really, I said it already before, people. Yeah? If you have really a driver, you can be sure that this person will run a perfect cluster. And if this person is also coming from industry, because of the cost pressure, they will not just take time, they will push the things for a goal. You see here, last point, government and market play an important role. Yeah? But it's saying government and market. If there's just a government, something is missing. If there's just a market, you may think that someone is instrumentalizing the universities or the small medium enterprises, whatever. Yeah? But I think what goes together is government and market play an important role. And it's saying government should not interfere too much. You're providing the infrastructure. You're giving the kind of whatever financial support that the companies can sit together in a nice environment, somewhere in a restaurant, after 8 o'clock, drinking several glasses of wine or whatever, and start to be creative. And you see after half an hour, what happened? We had that in the optical cluster. We had 2 very, very strong competitors in this cluster. But after 2 glasses of wine, they started to talk about actual research. And it was fruitful. It was not talking or losing IPR. It was a creative approach of, like active researchers do when they are at a conference and they work both on the same topic. And in the evening, when they have some glasses, they start to open themselves. But this is important. Otherwise, a cluster doesn't work. It's not a room that we say this is a cluster. It's not. If I'm just staying here and talk, and you don't interact with me, we are not talking about a cluster. We are talking about a room. Yeah, I'm running as usual out of time. Here we have Broechler. Broechler is really a guru on entrepreneurship, and he said what you need is 2 types of people. Leaders and feeders. Easy to remember. Leaders and feeders. So take care when you create a cluster that you have this going. And the feeders are those organizations that support the entrepreneurs. They give infrastructure, they give some money to it, they give them a possibility to travel, whatever. Yeah? But they are feeding the things. They are not creating. Big difference. Long-term view and commitment to building this community, a philosophy of inclusiveness. That is also a very, very important thing. Don't be too selective when you start your cluster. If someone is coming up, especially if you talk about creative economy, there's sometimes strange guys with long beards, whatever, they come into your meeting or they want to be a member, don't throw them out immediately. We know from many, many examples that it works much better if you integrate. If we talk about European Commission, out of the 9 priorities the Commission is setting, cluster support is one of the pillars. The creative industry, okay. It's, so we have different statements here, but you have also the article and the book, and this was said already. So I will be here a bit faster. Yeah, and in here you see some points that were made already. Yeah, if you, for example, see the Los Angeles region, yeah, the creative economy has fourth largest employment in the sector. We saw some figures today. Yeah, there's a justification for it, but I would really understand this creativity thing as a supporter, as it was said by you, Mr. Daejeon, yeah, that is supporting the open innovation model. The creativity or the creative industry is not making any innovation, yeah? But they are feeding the process. They are the ones, if you see all these bubbles in the innovation process, yeah? There must be someone who has a meta view on it, you know, staying here and say, it's like that, yeah? You don't see it if you're there in the aquarium, you don't see it, yeah? But if you have a view from the top, you see all the possibilities. And the creative people, they are able to see it. They don't see the risk like you see it, yeah? But they see the opportunities. The open innovation, this model was very, very well explained. I cannot compete with your presentation on this. So let's be a bit faster and go back to the, oh, do we have it? Yes, yes. What we try to do, and I will finish with this one, we want to take the open innovation model, you know it. Yeah? It's a model where you have this is a closed innovation, sorry. This is a closed innovation, and here we made the closed incubation model out of it. We did not make it because this is a reality. You know what is happening in the business incubation process normally? You have a big chunk of opportunities going into the process. You have the chasm, yeah, this is a barrier, and you get, of course, afterwards the selection. This is needed. I'm not against it. You need to evaluate and do a risk evaluation. Every venture capitalist is telling you 100 in and maybe 1 out. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think that we need to change the model, and that we have to take what we know out of open innovation, crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, all this what we know, we have to adopt to the incubation process. We have to make the funnel wider. Open innovation is doing exactly the same. And we need to have open barriers. Think about the opportunities that we realize that we have with the open innovation model. Translate that into the incubation process. So you have a lot of open innovation in this model included because it follows the paradigm. But what we want to do is we want to increase the opportunities. We want to give more people the opportunity. Think about the case where you have a good idea and you fail. You fail with your regional business incubator to do something. Why shouldn't you have a second chance, like in technology transfer, that you can distribute your idea worldwide to be successful? There are a lot of venture capitalists that are still quite regional working, that look for an opportunity, gives them the possibility to exploit it. And here, the Commission in the Competitiveness and Innovation Program decided to give us 14.5 out of 15 points in the evaluation, and we got 4 million euros, and we will foster this model. And I invite every university here, every science and technology park, everyone who likes, every government person, to use this and to contact me to be part of it, because it will be free for use. This is why the Commission is famous. So I will stop my presentation. I'm running out of time. Thank you for your attention.